morning, Foundation family. I want to welcome each and every one of you to the first ever virtual Foundation virtual end of the year event. We expect this program to last no longer than an hour because we know you have important meetings to attend to today.
Are you counting the dead time too now?
It might be just a little bit over 9 now, but we'll try to take your time into consideration with all this. But for those of you who do not know me, my name is Hannah James, and I serve as the marketing and communication correspondent for Foundation Title. My first priority was to implement a monthly newsletter. Hopefully you saw the first one that went out in December, and the next one will actually go out tomorrow. The purpose is to keep you all in the loop so you know what's currently going on here at Foundation, as well as a place to highlight the branch successes and recognition. Along with the newsletter, we are relaunching our Instagram account, Foundation T&E. We want to share your successes and fun times at the office, so please feel free to reach out to me anytime so we can make sure your accomplishments are being seen. As we all know, 2020 has been very challenging to say the least, and we've learned a lot about ourselves as a company. And we are so proud how we transitioned to business online. Some title companies had to close their doors at the beginning of the pandemic, but with our great employees and our great resources, we turned this obstacle into an opportunity. With the challenges of 2020, we saw gaps that needed to be filled with our leadership team. So at the beginning of 2021, we added 3 executive hires to our team. We have Felicia Burke, our education director, Krista Hill, our human resources director, and Shauna Holtz, our president of operations. We're excited to have these hardworking employees on our team. As you all recall, we wanted to recognize the office that has been very attentive and resourceful with the planning of our virtual event. Congratulations to the Chattanooga office. You guys have won a pizza party for being so on top of the ball with planning.
You know, Hannah, I know those guys. I think they just wanted a free lunch.
I know. Vera, I see you.
Way to go, guys.
But now I'll turn it over to Chris so he can highlight our successes of 2020 and go over the numbers.
Yeah, first, Hannah, I want to introduce some new family members. I understand that we have some folks on the Emerald Coast. Hopefully they're still with us online, but welcome to all of you guys. You know, it's amazing how many people now volunteer to work in that office. It's amazing how that is. I also want to recognize our neighbors to the south of us in Alabama, Huntsville. Craig was with us yesterday. I want to shout out to all those guys. Welcome to the Foundation family. And then while it's not a formal office, Mark Littrell and his team joined Memphis. So hello, guys. Thank you for being part of us. Now the fun stuff. What you guys did in 2020. Let's go over some things. And wow, when I looked at the final numbers, I was blown away. So let's just kind of go over some individual offices that what they did. Let's start with Chattanooga because that's how it's listed. Chattanooga had 2,455 orders and 1,784 closings. Now, let's broadcast that just or contrast it with last year to make it even more meaningful. 1,479 open orders and 1,000 closings. I wasn't good at math, but that's almost double, right? Is that almost double? Let's go to Clarksville. Clarksville had 1,484 orders. They had 1,158 closing. Great job, Mark and his team, as they always do. Franklin, Dawn and her group, 1,390 orders, 1,145 closings. Way to go, guys. Gatlinburg, 356 orders, 296 closings. That's double what they did last year. So that's wonderful growth, Greg. Thank you for what you do there. Johnson City, wow. You talk about a improvement. 1,272 orders, 867 closings. I just want to add last year, which I thought they did wonderful, improvement from the year prior. They had 627 orders and 399 for 2019. So again, doubling your work. The Bluegrass State, Brent and his team, 983 closings, almost 1,200 orders, 1,198. That's up from 1,045 and 848 closings. Memphis, 958 orders, 686 closings. That's way up. Carla and Jacob, let's talk about Murfreesboro. 1,486 orders, 1,130 closings. That's significantly up. Now, the guy that cannot be contained, the energy that runs amok, Mr. Brandon and his team in Mount Juliet, 997 orders. Brandon, I looked, I called, I thought surely we could find 3 more orders to make it 1,000 orders, but I couldn't. So 2021 better watch out. But 738 closings, that is significantly up. Now, FND Branch is our independent main office there in Franklin, and they have a far-reaching group of sub-offices under them. I will just give you total numbers because they are quite impressive, and they are significant over last year. They had 3,157 orders and 2,420 closings. Fantastic. Overall for Foundation, we had 15,719 orders. Let's just say 16,000 orders. 11,943 closings. Let's just say 12,000 closings. Now, how did we do? How did we do compared to last year? 12,103 orders in 2019 and 9,097 closings. Again, I didn't do math, but Felicia, that's more. Hannah, that's more, right?
That's
well, what did we say yesterday? Mo better?
Mo better.
That is mo better. Impressive, guys. And so one of the funnest things that I do, and Felicia's going to help me with individual awards, but I want to talk about office awards. And the first that I want to talk about are those in the Century Club. And those in the Century Club are those that have closed 1,000 or more for the year. So we have our main foundation office. Obviously, you guys doubled that. So you have made the Century Club. I think this may be 3 years in a row. So good job to Carla and her crew. Mark, of course, was lead huntsman last year. They're in the Century Club as we're kind of getting used to that. Clarksville's in the Century Club. John Hinton, Don Chase, Laurie Harris, Makisha, all that crew, they're in. Franklin made it, and Murfreesboro. Those are our Century Club award winners. Now, my partner, Bill, who you all know, we named an award after him. He is a fox hunter, and I knew nothing about fox hunting, except it looked fun. And he always talked about there was a lead huntsman, and that's always the one who led the charge when they would go fox hunting. So we've named this award after him, Felicia, in honor of him, and that goes to the office that has the most closings. Now, it was a tight race because in years past, I pulled the main FND branch out. Now, this year I handicapped them. I even took out some because I want them to compete. I want everyone to compete for this. So I took some of their commercial and their credit union out, and it was close. It was close. Yeah. But I am proud to say that our Chattanooga office is the lead huntsman, and they'll have that award to keep for the year. 1,784 closings. Just to let you know how we made that competitive, when I took the commercial, when I took the credit union from FND, they were at 767, so it was nose to nose. Wow. But here's what I'm hearing. What I'm hearing is Memphis is coming after everybody. That's what I'm hearing. Because I know Mark Littrell, and he says that he wants to win
it's
it.
It's going to be 2021.
So yeah, that's what they say. So now the next segue that I'd like to make, Felicia, and I'm so glad that you're here.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
And you and I have talked about this, and you know how special it is for me to talk about individual folks
Yes.
who've gone above and beyond. And we have two awards. And the first one is the When Pigs Fly. And for those of you that's been with Foundation, they know that we suffered some setbacks, and we were put on a blacklist with Wells Fargo. And I really should name it after Dee Dee Johnson because I had given up. And Dee Dee made me keep fighting when I didn't want to, and we got back on the list. And I always joke that the Wells Fargo executive that I talked to, and I said, "Hey, can you ever get back on the list?" And she said, "Yeah, when pigs fly."
There you
So
have it.
we got back on the list, and this award, just a little glimpse of that is when somebody does over and above. In 2020, I think probably everybody deserves a When Pigs Fly.
Oh, absolutely.
For
It
what
was
we
a
did.
challenging year, but look at all the success.
I'm telling you, I wish, so really it should be a blanket When Pigs Fly for each and every one of you. But we have got a couple to point out, and Felicia's going to name those award winners. If I can keep from interrupting her, jumping in, I'll do that. And then the award that means the most to me is the Spirit of Foundation. And the Spirit of Foundation is for that individual that encompasses who we are, our culture, who shows up every day, who doesn't complain. It was named after Carla Johnson's daughter. And Carla's daughter worked for us several years ago, and we lost her too young. And she was a ray of sunshine. She made everybody feel better. When you were down, you wouldn't be for long if Ashley was around. So that's very, very important.
It is.
So, will you name them?
I will. So the nominees are our Director of IT, Pat Carney, Karen Christensen, Lori Harris, Pilar Jabarian, Brooklyn Kimbrough, Trisha Percival, Christy Perry, Teresa Smith, and Amanda Scott. Congratulations to all the nominees. I wish we had a drum roll.
Yeah. So let's kind of hold off on the award winner for the Spirit, all right? Because we want to have a crescendo. Who won our When Pigs Fly?
Who did win the Pigs Fly?
Yeah, so...
Sorry, I've got to get closer.
Yeah, so I'm going to cheat and go out on a limb and tell you who won the When Pigs Fly. And we have two individuals, Greg Reichert, who has took something from nothing and doubled it each year. So he went into Gatlinburg and has done a wonderful job, went above and beyond the call of duty. And the second award winner for When Pigs Fly is Julie Miller out of Memphis. And if I can, I want to tell a little story about Julie.
Great.
Julie is one of the best escrow officers that we have in our company. And when Mark Littrell and his team came on, there was an onslaught of files that they brought over. Now, it would have been very easy to say, it's not our problem, we're not going to help in that. But Julie didn't do that. She jumped in and took all the files that they had and said, this is ridiculous, we're going to help you. And the reason that I know that is Mark called me, and Mark is not an emotional guy, but he called and left a message, Felicia, and said, it brings tears to my eyes that I've gotten such help. So Julie, Greg, well deserved, and congratulations.
What a hard transition.
Yeah.
When you're coming over with orders to just make that happen.
Yeah.
So kudos to you, Julie, and the team.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Yeah. So do we have an award winner for the Spirit?
We do. So the Spirit of Foundation goes to Wayne Thomas.
You know, I gotta tell you a little bit. You wouldn't be surprised, right? I gotta tell you a little bit about Wayne. Wayne is unflappable. He is an attorney, and his first name is Justice. So how can you not go to law school and become an attorney? So Justin Wayne Thomas, thank you for what you do. It's well deserving. I appreciate all the award winners and everybody that has been a part. Now, Felicia, stay with me, will you?
I will.
Thank you.
I will. This is wonderful.
I would sorely disappoint my two colleagues and friends, Randy Hardison and Brent Isley, is if I did not end my talk with a nerdy historical reference. So, gentlemen, I will try not to disappoint. But I want all of you to go back in time. Let's go back in time, shall we? Let's go to January 2020. And we looked at the year in front of us, and it was just fresh and virgin with all the things that we could do. And boy, did we get a shock. Did we get a slap in the face. The civil unrest, the riots, the political chatter. And oh, by the way, we had a little pandemic thrown in that we had to deal with. And so for that reason, it would be very easy. I know that I have slipped into it myself. It would be very easy to say, hey, these kinds of things are nothing but let's just pat ourselves on the back. What is the point of planning? Because we don't know what's going to happen anyway, right?
I think I threw my goals away.
Yeah, it would be very easy to do that. But, I did a lot of reading in 2020 because I had that kind of time. I wasn't traveling. And there was a book that I read, and each chapter talked about great historical figures. So cue the historical nerdy reference now. And it was an interview with President Eisenhower. Now, President Eisenhower had a little gig before the presidency. He was the Supreme Commander of the Allied forces in World War II. And part of his job, along with other countries, was to strategize over the D-Day invasion.
Okay.
And the night before D-Day, he wrote a letter. He wrote a letter in which he apologized for the mistakes made. He apologized and took all the responsibility for the failure of D-Day. Now, we all know that didn't happen, thankfully. The Allies had a successful invasion, and they stemmed the tide of Nazism. So the interviewer kept pushing President Eisenhower on that, and the president knew the interviewer knew about that letter. So finally, the president told him, he said, look, plans don't mean anything, but planning is everything. I had to read that a couple of times because it hit me like a thunderbolt. And I'm like, who am I? When you have someone of that intellect, with that experience, that he knows that things could probably go wrong, and yet still plan. So when I do planning, and I did, and I think about those things, oftentimes a word will come to mind. A word for the year will come to mind. And before all of you start rolling your eyes and say, Chris, foundation cannot be summed up with a word, and your business plan certainly cannot be summed up in a word. And I agree with you. However, in this year, it underscores more than most that words matter. Words have meaning. Words can provide a beacon. It can be a navigational guidepost where we point the direction of our ship sailing in this business world. So if I say a word like integrity, if I say a word like loyalty, I promise you right now, every one of you think about, well, they tell the truth. That's a company that stands behind. They're united. So don't tell me words don't matter. Now, I'm fudging a little bit this year, because this year, after what we've had, I think we need 3 words.
You've always set the bar a little high.
Yeah. So thank you. So the words for this year are challenge, create, and collaborate. I'm going to start with the first one because a lot of times we can have negative connotations when we say challenge. We'll either say, that's too challenging. Or better yet, we'll talk about teachers in the school system or parents. They say, little Susie is challenging. Little Johnny is certainly a challenge. When yet, in fact, what we're doing is tamping down our basic curiosity. Somewhere along the line, we lose the most powerful one-word question that's ever been known and strikes fear in every parent's heart. And it's why, right? Why?
Why are we doing
Because
this?
we know with that each answer that's going to be followed up by another why. But I'm going to ask all of you this year to tap into that inner child, rediscover that curiosity that you had. And before all my senior staff thinks that I'm declaring anarchy in our company, in open rebellion, I'm not. What I'm asking you to do is look at what part you play in the overall tapestry. What thread are you in the tapestry of foundation? And I'm here to tell you right now, if you don't take a moment to self-reflect, challenge what you're doing, whether it be in business or whether it be in your personal life, you're not only doing foundation a disservice, you're doing yourself a disservice. You need to think about what it is that you do and why it is that you do it. And that leads to the second word, which is create. You start thinking about why you're doing things, why you do it the way that you do, And when you're in that position, I challenge you, I'm going to use that word, I challenge you to take a deep breath and not complain. It takes just as much time to complain as it does to think about what it is that you're doing. That is where the innovation is born. That's when you start creating things. I'm not saying that you solve the problem, but oftentimes why leads to what if. And what if we all have an open mind, is where innovation is born. So I'm going to ask you to challenge what it is that you're doing, create, think about, instead of complaining, think about, I wonder why that is. How could I have done that differently? How could I have had a different outcome? What is it that I'm doing that could help someone down the line? So I'm going to pause on the words. I'm going to pause on the words right now because I'm a good talker. I want to walk the walk instead of just talk the talk. So I want to talk about, we briefly introduced everyone, and I want to talk about 4 areas, and I can't take the entire credit for this. I can't even take any of the credit, but I can take credit for prompting the conversation. When you look back on 2020, and we had a fantastic year, but success is never owned, Felicia. Success is leased, and the rent is due every day. And so you look at 2020 and you think, what could have helped us? What could have benefited us? And I look at, and I love the people that we have, and I love that they're here, but I'm talking about what they bring, the areas that they bring. And the first and foremost is communication. Guys, we're 100 plus strong, and yet we are strewn out from pillar to post. And I think the most important thing is communication. You don't have to be around me long to hear that I love our newsletter. When I go into offices, they talk about missing the newsletter. I've heard you. I want it too. And I told Hannah, this is what I want you to focus on, the internal newsletter. There will be time for social media. There will be time for external newsletters. We're going to do all those things, but we have got to start talking to one another. Johnson City may have an idea that Chattanooga could use, and vice versa in Memphis. The sad thing that I have for me is knowing each and every one of you and loving you the way that I do, and y'all not having an opportunity to talk and get to know one another. So that was a primary focus for me, is communicate. And the newsletter's not going to solve all that, but it's going to take a big first step. Felicia, you're number 2 that I want to talk about. Tricia has developed a curriculum, and you've been in a lot of title companies. Have you ever seen a curriculum like she's devised?
I have never. Trisha's amazing.
I'm telling you. So
I'm so excited to work with her.
we have a library that is second to none, and all the books are collecting dust. But Felicia is going to change that. Felicia is going to one of the main topics or main focus for her is she's going to do an outreach program. She's going to get to know you. She's going to visit the offices and see what you want, see what your needs are. So of all those of you sitting there go, well, that's great. You developed a training program. I missed the boat on that. No, far from it. We're going to institute that for incoming people, but also for you. If there's things like I really want to brush up and know how to do this, or I want to rise in the company and I want to learn how to do that, Felicia is your counselor, right? When you sit down to graduate, what hours do I need? And she's gonna build a program where you can actually earn a degree at Foundation University. So I am excited about that. And Felicia is a teacher at heart. She was a teacher. And then when you marry the title experience, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing that's come up. So I'm excited about that. Third area, recruiting. People make a company. You're not a great company without great people. And so if you're busy doing, how many we do? 15,000, 100,000, whatever the number is that we're doing in closings, you don't have time to say, hey, I really need an escrow officer, because that's often too late. So I am ecstatic that, and I'm pointing over in the direction because she's here in my living room, Krista Hill is going to head up HR. Now you may go, well, didn't we have an HR person? Yes, but as you know, I love to save money, and I have multiple hats that I ask people to wear. So Deb Gentry is still with us. She's just going to go to her first love, which is compliance, which we all need, and she's going to focus on that. And Krista is not only an HR genius, she is also in the title world. She's got a Rolodex that's national, not local. So I'm really looking forward. the theme that came through when I talked to Krista is I am an advocate for people. I am an advocate for people. So I'm very blessed that she has joined us. So all these musical instruments, what is needed? A conductor, a symphony conductor to make all the pieces to interact. You need an advocate knowing where the resources are, and I am humbled. And she is also in my living room. So if I'm sitting over here, I'm looking at her. I am humbled that Shauna Hulse has agreed to join us. And I say that because I had coffee with her, and I said 10, 12 years ago, I said, you led a company that I wanted to aspire us to be. So she knows the experience. She's got it. She ran Realty Title for 18 years, Shauna? 17 and a half years is how long she was there. So she is well respected in our industry, and she is ecstatic. You can see it. You can see it in her eyes how much she enjoys joining us. And the first thing she said was kind of like Felicia. I want to go to the branches and get to know you. Yeah, and that's music to my ears. The thing that I'm enjoying this with you, Felicia, but the thing I hate is we're not all together. So the fact that they want to meet. So talk the talk, walk the walk. Those are the 4 areas that I think. But I need you to help me with the final word. I need you to collaborate with me to make those 4 things happen. And so I'm going to mix my mathematical metaphor, right? We have 3 words, gone over the first 2, but guess what? We're not halfway there. We're not halfway there. In fact, I would argue without collaboration, I'd say big deal.
Right.
Big deal that you found a problem. Big deal that you found an issue. Big deal that you found a solution. If you don't get people won over, if you don't get people excited about what it is that you're doing, it's all for naught. I've talked to a lot of you folks individually. I know there are some pain points you have and you want to get better, and I share that North Star with you. But here's where you're failing. Here's where you're failing. Not getting collaboration. Having that will be impenetrable.
Right. Well, we can't do it alone.
100%. 100%.
It takes us all of us to be successful together.
I'm excited about our new areas. I'm excited about 2021. I have no idea what's going to come about. But we're going to plan. We're going to strategize. We're going to get up to the plate and take a swing. And I do make this prediction. In January 2022, we're going to be together, and we're going to enjoy, and we're going to laugh, and we're going to talk about, wow, can you believe what we did in 2021? So let's challenge each other. Let's create with one another. And more than anything, let's collaborate. Thank you all for having breakfast. Thank you for being part of our virtual kickoff. Thank you, Pilar, for the microphone. I appreciate it.